Movavi. Movavi.
I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than a poet can help the inspiration to sing. Hey there.
Hello.
Welcome back. We have worked diligently hard on this episode. So, like Albert Fish's episode last year about April, it took, 3-4 episodes to do?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's going to be just as long because I did just as much research. And this episode, we will discuss H.H. Holmes.
All right.
Our buddy. Not really my buddy. I don't like him because he's a liar, pants on fire.
Oh.
He's a straight up liar and con man and liar. And they say serial killer, which he can meet that. But at the same time, he drank it too early.
I'm sorry.
He killed for pleasure. What am I saying? Not pleasure. He killed because he needed to get people out of his way, and he killed for money. So that was the main thing for him. So we are starting our creeps and cocktails on H.H. Holmes with a Chicago drink that is known to be enjoyed by Al Capone, and it is called the South Side. It's gin, simple syrup, mint, and lemon. All right. Okay. Cheers. Enjoy. Yep. There's some gin in there.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
The simple syrup cuts it down a lot.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. All right. So this is going to be relatively long. So I say buckle in, listen to the story, and decide for yourself if you think that this man is a straight up liar, pants on fire, con artist monster.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no nice words to say about this dude. Like none.
Well, before we jump in, this is the Veil, Creeps and Cocktails.
It is.
Recently we were just at the Night House.
We were there, yeah.
And we have some footage of us playing chess with some interaction. So I will be going through that. And spoiler, can you guess who won?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's going to call me a liar, pants on fire.
Leah Holmes?
Ooh, ouch. But if that were true, I'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
He didn't keep them around very much.
No, he didn't.
No. All right, so you ready for this long story?
Sure, let's do this.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
He's going to fall asleep.
I don't think I'll fall asleep.
All right, so in the first episode, we're going to discuss what brings us up to how everybody knows H.H. Holmes, which is the Chicago Murder House, which, by the way, we went to go see.
Oh, we did. We don't have that picture in here, do we?
No, because we put a live up when we were there.
Oh, yeah. So, do we show the murder house first?
No, we'll show it when we get there. But we're going to show a little image of our friend here, H.H. Holmes, with his mustache of mustaches and his lying pants on fire eyes.
I mean, I can get a hat just like that and wear for this
little
episode.
Bowler. Oh, just looking at him makes me mad. So, liar, pants on fire. So H.H. Holmes was actually born in May 16th of 1861. And his name at birth is Herman Webster Mudgett.
Yep.
Pretty name, Mudgett. He was born in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. And then he died May 7th of 1896. I believe he was a Cancer, if anyone is following the astrological signs.
Oh, okay.
So pretty sure that was a Cancer time. He was born to parents of Levi. Yeah, Levi Horton Mudgett and Theoda Page Price. Which I do have to wonder if my family has any history with that. I'm going to do like some background.
Okay.
Because my family side is Price.
Oh.
I'm a weirdo. I have a lot of last names. I was born with the last name of Wild. And then when my father adopted me, I became a Price.
Oh.
And then a Cooper. And then a Cornell. So
Oh.
I just keep changing my name, apparently. But for the main part of my life, I was actually a Price.
Okay.
Yep. So I kind of wonder if there's like some history with the family. Theodate Page Price. It'd be kind of cool to know.
Yeah.
So Herman was the third of 4 children raised in a strict, devout Methodist home. And I'm going to quiet my phone because we don't want it to be dinging the whole time.
No. That'd be annoying.
It would be.
Yeah, it would be.
And if you think I'm popular, I'm not. I just shop a lot, so I get a lot of Timo and stuff notifications.
You furnishing your own murder house?
Ooh, that'd be cool. I don't know if I'd murder anybody though.
No.
I do like the idea of staircases leading to nowhere and rooms that don't have doors. Yeah, that type of thing.
Okay.
All right, so the Mudgetts were a well-liked family, and according to Holmes himself, who was so kind as to author his own autobiography in 1895, he claimed that his childhood was normal, no different than others you grew up with in loving homes. His father, Levi, was a house painter, and his mother was a homemaker, and then Levi would go on to become the town's postmaster.
Okay.
The family was not known to be mean or strange or morally well or undoing. They simply were like nothing of note about the family, according to neighbors.
Okay.
I kind of want to pause there because there's other research that states that there was a lot of physical abuse in the home. But now that I think about it, there could have been.
Yeah.
But what was normal at that time for child discipline, we now see in the eyes of physical abuse.
Yeah.
So maybe there was some harsh discipline that took place because it was a very strict household, but it was normal at that time.
Right.
So maybe they didn't say it was overly abusive and they just saw it as normal.
Okay.
Maybe. But I do have to read this little excerpt that Holmes wrote himself in the beginning of his book. Okay. Come with me, if you will, to a tiny New England village nestling in the picturesque, rugged hills of New Hampshire. This little hamlet has been known for centuries as Gilmanton. Here, in the year of 1861, I, Herman W. Mudgett, the author of these pages, was born. He already sounds egotistical to me. Just by reading that, I just sense arrogance. So again, childhood was fairly unremarkable, and his mother noted him to be a good little child, very pretty and loving. Very pretty.
Pretty.
His mother's called him pretty. Okay. But should say a local shop owner would state to reporters later that Herman was a good worker, but very infatuated with money. So even at a young age, money was like his motivation.
Okay.
He would sometimes notice that money would go missing from his shop. Other times, as Herman grew into an adult, he would state he sent payment for a service, but would pocket the money. So at a young age, into his very later teens, whatnot, he knew to not give up money that he owed.
Okay.
He didn't like paying bills, didn't like debts, but he had this infatuation and obsession with being wealthy and money in general.
Okay.
Now, we'll learn that this dude was a straight up con artist. He loved scams. He never paid his bills or debts. So Yeah, money hungry dude. All right, so after his arrest, years later, more neighbors in the community would start to say that Herman was nothing of major note. He was polite and kind, and wasn't somebody that like really stood out to anyone. But from the community is that he also had a very unhealthy preoccupation with money and overall wealth. So other people around him saw that this was like an obsession for him, even in his childhood and teens. So Herman actually struggled with interpersonal skills as a child. He was unable to look people in the eye. Okay.
He was awkward though, isn't it? Sometimes.
Right, but he actually was diagnosed with strabismus, which is like a bit of a cross-eye, lazy eye, difficult to focus on one thing. Okay. So he did have a diagnosis that he actually couldn't look at people, like in the eye. Okay. But again, that also, if somebody can't like really look you in the eye and give you like a firm handshake or something, it already puts you in a distrustful state of mind. Right. As a boy, he was easily influenced and a bit of a loner, did a lot of walks alone, and very secretive. Okay. So you pretty much see him by himself walking, taking long walks around the neighborhood. Some would say he seemed arrogant and domineering to the other boys, which led to a lot of bullying. So he was kind of stuck in that bullying thing, which can be a childhood trauma. Yeah. Depending on how severe it was, how long it lasted, what kind of bullying. Okay. It was said that the occasions of bullying in his childhood were mainly due to his odd behaviors and secretive, and his overall intelligence. He was quite intelligent compared to the other kids in his class. So what happens in that situation is they get bullied a lot. The nerd in the class gets bullied. Yeah. So it was also said that he had a major fear of his doctor's office, Dr. White. Now, Dr. White was a known doctor, well-respected, very esteemed type of doctor. However, this doctor was also, I think, ahead of his time, because what they said that he was interested in morbid stuff was more of like anatomy, biology, loved dissection, kind of kept some weird stuff in his office. Okay. But not to the extent where he was a problem. It's just some people looked at him like, why do you have that? Or like, why are you doing that? To me, again, I think Dr. White was just above his time. He was finding things that they needed to know, but it wasn't normal for doctors to be looking at that time. Okay. Now, since he had this fear, these older boys had pulled him into Dr. White's office at one time and forced him to look at a real skeleton. So Dr. White had a real skeleton with the flesh and whatnot off the skeleton, but it was there. Okay. It was said then, he tried to say, I don't know how true this is, but he says in his book, that is what started his fascination with medicine. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. So he actually graduated from Gilmanton Academy with honors at 16 years of age and began working odd jobs, even teaching for some time at a local elementary school. And it was during this time that he met Clara Lovering. Now, he met her prior. Isn't she gorgeous? He met her a little bit prior when he was 14. Okay. She was in town visiting the area and was actually staying with, I'm trying to think of the name. Hold on a second. Ira Pennick. Okay. All right. So Ira Pennick was just boarding her as she was staying there, because she actually came from nearby Loudon, New Hampshire. So while he was finishing up school and working, his grandfather had passed and left him some land. Okay. Well, Mr. Mudgett here was like, I'm intelligent. There's great things that I should be doing, and I'm a landowner. So I should be getting married. Like, he's trying to adult himself pretty darn fast.
That's
so
big mistake. The getting married part.
Ouch. So he met Clara and had asked to marry her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ira Pennick was like, dude, you're 14 or 15, and she's here, and I'm boarding her, and I'm supposed to be caring for her, not marrying her off.
Mm-hmm.
So slow your horses, back up a little bit. You guys aren't ready for all that. But that really didn't deter him. He continued to see her, and they actually continued to date. So Clara was from a prominent family, and she needed to go back to New York, where her family is now residing.
Okay.
So she was known as sweet, kind, modest, bit of a like the retiring disposition, just calm, sweet girl.
Okay.
People said you could not help but liking her. Now, it's unknown if she actually accepted this proposal, but again, in either way, they continued to date. And Herman at one time saw another boy hitting on her at a dance. I think it was like a Methodist dance at the church.
Okay.
And another boy kind of started making moves. And Herman, nobody really knows what was said, but ultimately threatened him enough to where he backed off and left.
Okay.
Okay. He ended up proposing to her again a little bit later. And at the age of 17 years old, they eloped in Alton, New Hampshire, July of 1878. So he waited a couple years.
Yeah.
Tried when he was about 14, 15. Her boarding person was like, dude, back off. Like, hold on a second. And then he tried again as they got a little bit older.
Okay.
But they eloped. So it was secretive. Their family was not knowing about this. And it was several months before the family even found out. Now, both families being very upset about it. Herman's mother. Okay. You would think she might say something about the marriage or about Clara herself, but she actually turned around and said, Clara couldn't have found herself much worse. A little sad.
Yeah.
And then
a little messed up.
And then said that she's going to have to support you. Because you know what? Mama knew. Mama knew he wasn't really worthy at that moment.
Okay.
So, on another side note, though, some more research that dug deeper into Herman's mom. He had a mom and sister, Helen, who were the type that anytime he had an interest in a female had gotten really jealous of it.
Okay.
So I don't know about you, but it's weird to have a mom and a sister both get jealous of the females that the male is interested in his life.
Yeah.
Like, why is a mom getting jealous?
Oh.
That's weird. Now, for me, I have, done my share of dating throughout my life. And I will say, dating a guy that has a sister is a lot harder than dating a guy that may have just brothers.
Okay.
Because the sisters do tend to be very protective and maybe even give the new girl a little bit of a harder time.
Okay.
Just put that out there. But the mom really shouldn't be jealous. And if the mom is jealous of a female, there's another issue going on there that should be looked into. So Clara's family was actually really disappointed that Herman was the choice because he hasn't even begun his way in life yet and could no way support her. They decided to help and offered him a job as a store clerk in a grocery store that they owned. And this was in East Concord.
Okay.
So what they said about him, though, while he was working there, is this is kind of where we see his arrogance. If they gave him the slightest compliment, he took that like to another level. Like, hey, you stock those apples really good today because I'm the best stalker there is. That kind of response. Yeah.
Okay.
Ego inflation.
Yeah.
Definitely not trying to say narcissist, but it's very much of that personality.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was crazy. So the couple seemed happy, and Herman was very smitten with her at that point.
Okay.
And he would even walk miles to go see her after work and then walk miles to go back to work. So he really took his time to go see her and spend time with her. The couple ended up having a son named Robert in February of 1880.
Okay.
And it was this marriage and having a son that really woke him up to, I want to do even better than what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
All right.
So.
And working at a store clerk just isn't going to get me to where I want to be. So he wanted to get rich, be wealthy, and do this fast. And one of the ways that you could do that is becoming, at the time, a doctor.
Okay.
So again, Herman decided he was altogether too bright for the life of a country store owner and felt he could make money fast as doctors. And if you patent some sort of medication, you're like even higher up.
Yeah.
So now he's like really obsessing about, can I do better? And if I can, I want to be a doctor. And if I can be a doctor, I want to patent a medicine. And we are going to be so rich when I do that.
He's aiming high.
Oh, he is. The family, on the other hand, was like, dude, we never said you had to be a store clerk forever. We were just bringing you into the business to learn it, to gain some knowledge of what it is to be in business and, be a human in the working world, really.
Adult.
Yeah. He had really no experience. He just did odd jobs, and teaching was definitely a skill.
Yeah.
But really not a personable skill that he had with people and general public and stuff. And that's what they were trying to teach him. They never said he had to stay there to be a store clerk. And they actually at one point had said, you could even open your own store one day. You're learning the business.
Okay.
But no, owning a store was not enough.
Not enough. Huh?
No,
not good enough.
Not good enough.
Okay.
So he quit.
Okay.
Yep. And started working with Dr. Nahum White, the doctor he was originally afraid of. And he was studying under him and learning more about becoming a doctor. And when he wasn't doing that, he was pulling medical books from libraries and teaching himself.
Okay.
So he was really jumping into this, saying that this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do.
All right.
So he worked under the doctor and spent time until 1881. And then he took a job teaching again to start gaining some money to eventually go into the university.
All right.
So meanwhile, Claire and Robert were living with her family as Herman worked and studied. And this distance started to become bigger. She was pretty much raising him alone. Well, Herman was like wound up in this obsession of being a doctor.
Okay.
So Herman ended up going to the University of Vermont in 1882 to study medicine. Clara and Robert stayed behind, and she continued to raise him. Now, again, we should say that medical schools at this time were not always seen with high morals.
Right.
Okay. Some people felt that physicians were quacks and didn't know what they were doing. And this is kind of scary or weird, whatever. Medical students were known to rob graves.
Yeah, cadavers.
You had to have a cadaver to work on to study medicine.
Yeah.
They weren't just, but at this time, they weren't just donated.
No.
So it was hard to teach physicians and physicians to have credibility to their name when all they had were textbooks to work out of and never actually had a cadaver, like something like a physical human. So in order to teach, they had to have a cadaver. In order to get a cadaver, a lot of the students would go rob some graves.
Okay. Go right to the source.
All right. All right. So while he was in Vermont, he was actually not one of the favorites of the class. He was still very much secretive, but he wasn't like hated.
Okay.
He wasn't like the hated student, but he wasn't like, hey, there's Herman, let's go hang out with him.
Mm-hmm.
He was there, still very secretive, kind of kept to himself.
Gotcha.
But incredibly flirtatious with the women. Let's remember he's married. But. Mr. Holmes, or I should say Herman, boarded with Mrs. Brew and paid more attention to Brew's daughter that she did not like. She never really liked Holmes, put it out there. Something was odd about him. Something never sat with her right about him. And again, a lot of the students would stay in boarding homes around the university.
Yeah.
That was typical.
Okay.
And she also stated that Herman would wake up early in the morning and go for long walks, just like he did as a kid. He was known for like these long walks. He also made time to visit an elderly widow every single day for a glass of wine and conversation. In my theory, he was hoping to get some money out of her.
Yeah.
That's my theory. And I say that because you'll learn as we go on the scams that he does, especially on widows.
Okay.
So, Miss Brew also said that when Herman got upset, he had a very bad temper, was extremely loud and aggressive. And that one specific moment, he and a roommate, Fred Ingalls, got into it because Fred had borrowed some of his mustache wax. You know, that big mustache.
You gotta wax that thing.
Yep. He had some mustache wax, and Fred used some of it without his permission. And apparently Herman beat the crap out of him.
Well, I mean, that stuff's not cheap, you know.
I guess not. So we'll just say that he caused some disturbance there.
I mean, I would, but
yeah, you need some beard oil or something. Yeah. So Herman worked very fast to get through school and as quickly as possible. The problem with this is when you're trying to just get it done, what are you learning? Like, what are you grasping? You're just hoping to just get this done. So he wasn't always the best student. Clara never came to see him, and he rarely spoke of her.
Okay.
Now, Miss Brew commented that Herman always thought of himself as getting to be at the top of his profession. She felt he was actually very self-conceited. And then Herman was hugely into chemistry. Now, remember, he wanted to patent medication. So chemistry became like his big class. And he felt like the university wasn't focused enough on sciences and chemistry.
Okay.
Then because of that, he turned his room into a mini lab and was doing his own concoctions of things and experiments.
Okay.
Ms. Brew felt really uncomfortable, though he continued to tell her and the others in the boarding house that he knew what he was doing and not to worry. So, of course, his room had these test tubes and black liquid potions and stuff, and he was trying out all sorts of things. This was an interesting response until one day Miss Brew was sweeping the hallway and couldn't help but to smell like this really bad odor coming from his room. And she opened the door and was looking around, and she noticed the smell was really coming from the bed. So she took her broom and swept under his bed, and out rolled a board with an infant on the board being dissected.
Okay.
Yep.
He didn't live there long after that, did he?
So the body, of course, was being used for dissection at the university, and he just brought it home.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
so this was a time that she had to have a conversation with not only him, but all of the medical students. Please do not bring this work home with you. Can't believe that has to be a rule, but apparently it needs to be a rule.
Okay.
Leave your cadavers at the school. Thank you.
Yes. They are not for personal use at your house.
So whatever he was doing with it, okay.
We'll We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't bring cadavers to your home. They will start to smell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Herman ended the semester at the university. However, he stated to Miss Brew that he would not be returning to the university because he didn't feel the university offered enough advantages, by quotes, for such a brilliant and promising young man that he called himself. Brilliant and promising young man. So he really felt like he was the smartest guy in the world.
I mean, could he be right? Could he be wrong?
So he decided to go to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Now, during this time, Clara has been supporting Herman and raising their son. And supporting, I mean by financially. So he was really doing all of this on her dime and her family's dime, while she was just there raising her son on her own.
Okay.
This time, she decided, I'm going to move with you. So she went to Ann Arbor with him. However, his mother and sister completely objected to that and told Herman he needed to end the relationship. So this mom and sister are weird. I'm not understanding their focus on this.
So they wanted to divorce her.
Yeah. They wanted him to end the marriage and was against the idea of his wife joining him in another state so they can be together while he continues his studies. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
So Claire moved to Michigan, and at this time, Helen, the sister, really came out with it and said Clara is not bright or refined enough for Herman.
Okay, they wanted a certain person. Then,
even though she's been doing all the supporting through all of this,
right? But they wanted that wasn't what they saw for him,
right? So Clara worked as a dressmaker while she lived at the boarding house with Herman and their son Robert. And Herman continued his studies. By this point, the marriage was difficult. I mean, he lived away from her for how long? Rumors of flirtatious behaviors with other women. He didn't really speak of her. Who knows how much he kept in communication with her while he was in Vermont. We don't really know any of that information, but we can say the marriage was struggling at this point. So Herman was heard stating to his classmates that it was Clara's fault that he couldn't rise to his potential. And it wasn't just Clara, it was like the idea of marriage was holding him back from rising to his full potential.
Okay.
So while being at this new boarding house in Ann Arbor, Clara again was well liked by the others in the home. She was often seen as polite and kind. Yet there were also times that they saw bruises and black eyes on her. Yeah, so he may have been beating her a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a few months prior to his graduation from the university, Clara had it and packed up Robert, and they went back home. He graduated, but do you think he went back to make things right? Absolutely not.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah. Why wouldn't he?
And the worst part is when she got back, she didn't really have a place to stay with her family, so she actually had to move in with Herman's family, with the mom and sister that disliked her so much.
Okay.
Yeah, so imagine how that went.
That's weird.
Yeah. So she continued working as a dressmaker out there until she was able to earn enough to just get out of the whole situation.
Okay.
So she went off on her own after she was able to leave that house, because who'd want to live in that situation? All right. So in the next decade, Clara has written that she knew very little of her husband and he did not communicate. However, good to know, they never divorced. Ever.
Okay.
Remember this in later situations. They remained legally married until the day he was executed.
Okay.
All right. Even though he went on to marry others. Okay.
Records weren't very well done back then.
Right. So again, here Herman was all about chemistry in Vermont, which is why he wanted to leave and go to Michigan. But when he got to Michigan, his obsession changed to anatomy.
All
right. So now he has this big ego. However, he was not known to be a great student, even like to the point where like the professors didn't want him to graduate.
Okay.
One professor actually voted against him. Other students called him dumb, slow to understanding reasoning, and some students ended up calling him a very particular nickname due to the way he smelled. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready for this nickname?
Yeah.
Smegma. Please tell me you know what smegma means.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't want to say it on here. You guys have to Google it because it's gross. It's gross, but it's smegma is what it was called.
Okay, so it must have been a really bad smell.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So in 1884, at this time, he and some classmates came up with the idea that would become a bigger part of his life, faking deaths using dead bodies and claiming them to be someone else to gain the life insurance. This was where the ideas were coming from, was when he was in school. This actually became a scam that he was doing.
This is what gives life insurance or insurance agents a bad rep.
So now we know where this idea came from. It started when he was in school. So in this year, Holmes was also faced with the possibility of not graduating due to charges of breach of promise.
Breach of promise?
Breach of promise. This is a thing.
Does that exist now?
I don't know. I don't think so. So Miss Fitch was the owner of the boarding home that Herman was staying in. She was a widow and a hairstylist. They began a little something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Herman proposed marriage to her. And in this time, in the 1800s, these words were not just randomly said. It's a promise, and it meant a lot.
Okay.
Like, this is a full-blown promise. Therefore, a breach of promise could actually end your entire chance of medical school. Like, this wasn't something that you just said to a woman to get in bed. Like, if you didn't go through with this, because that's how things were at this time, you courted to marry. You didn't just date around. You didn't just like, oh, we're just seeing each other for now and see how it goes. No, you court and marry. There's like an end goal.
Okay.
And she felt she was being courted. He promised marriage. He reneged on that promise. And she reported him to the school, to which they had to actually have a meeting, a board meeting, to determine whether or not he should graduate. Like, that's how big this was.
It didn't matter, like, his performance academically? That had no...
No, this was saying you are a very immoral person. So we don't know if we should let you be a doctor.
Okay, for doctor, yeah, I guess.
So,
Man.
He worked with a professor, Professor Herdman, who provided his word that the accusation is false and that he never promised marriage and that Miss Fitch was lying.
Well, I mean, women back then were known to lie, right?
Do you want me pushed off that stool you're sitting on? Okay, then.
Well, I mean, you could drop them off at the poor farms, and that was common practice.
Unfortunately, that was. That's so sad.
The word of a woman didn't mean that much back then. Technically,
I kind of want to be mad at you, but you're right.
I mean,
you're not lying.
Historically, that's how it was.
Yeah. So Professor Herdman provided his word that the accusation was false, and he supported the not guilty plea that Herman placed to the board.
So was he on trial, or was he, because he had to plea too? It was
a plea to the board.
Oh, okay. Like, had to say he was not guilty.
Now, because of the university's faith in Professor Herdman, they took his word for it and said, okay, we find him not guilty, and he was able to graduate. On the date of graduation,
Okay.
Herman graduated with diploma in hand, went to Professor Herdman and shook his hand, and then said everything was true, by the way, and walked away. What a slap in the face. Like, full on slap in the face. And there was really nothing he could do. It's not like he could turn around and like go on against his word. Dude's graduated, has his diploma.
It's done.
It's done. And if he said anything, then he's showing that he, of high credibility, was wrong.
Oh, jeez.
So let's just say he's already a dick. All right. We're just going to do that. I'm just going to call him Dick.
Mm.
So after graduation, instead of moving to his wife and child like he should have done and try to make things better, he moved to upstate New York and opened... This makes no sense. Ready?
Okay.
He opened a small tree nursery. Because that has everything to do with doctors.
Trying to find a way to put those two together.
Yeah.
They don't have one.
No. And then he had met a woman who provided him French lessons named Minnie Everett. They began a quick little relationship, and she ended saying, "There's something lurking in the man's character that time will reveal. I do not like him. I firmly believe he will commit murder." So she ran from him. Okay. He did become a school teacher again and earn enough money to open his own medical clinic. Now, during this time is when smallpox came through.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a rush in the community. Like, people were just dropping with it.
Right.
He took this as a time to get his scam on. Okay. One of his many scams that he's done, but this kind of where things really started rolling for him. He got his hands on a vaccination for the smallpox, put loads of the vaccines on a wagon, and then went door to door telling residents that he was an official with the health department and that vaccines are mandatory, and charge each resident for the vaccine at 25 cents each. So impersonation.
Nice little racket.
Kind of forcefully, you're getting a vaccination and you're going to pay for it.
Nice little racket.
Mm-hmm. In his office, he was actually known to treat out-of-town women of lower morals.
Okay.
With problems of organic nature.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any guesses?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prostitutes?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And, maybe some abortions, maybe some STDs.
Okay.
He was like that doctor they went to.
So he was like the black market.
He was like the scumbag doctor.
They needed those at the time too.
Sure. I mean, you did, but all right.
Well, they didn't need them, but there's that market exists.
Right.
So you had to have people in them for it to exist.
Right.
So, I mean.
Now, there's another rumor that went around. This one could have been possibly, not really sure, his first murder. We're not sure.
Okay.
He was starting to set up a lab in his office. He's back to the lab rat thing.
Okay.
And there are people that said that they saw him with a child who was helping him in the lab, like cleaning beakers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed to them that the child was his 6-year-old son, Robert, who came to help him work. Now, it was stated in an article in New York Times that Holmes went to Massachusetts to meet with Clara and his son after his teaching stint and brought his son back with him to help him work in the lab. However, it was seen that he was seen with a young boy, but that boy sort of disappeared at some point.
Okay.
They never saw him again, and Holmes explained it simply by saying he went back to his mom.
I mean,
we don't know if that was accurate or not, but I highly doubt that Clara allowed him to just show up and take the kid. Especially since he had a history of harming her, possibly beating her, was a terrible husband and sort of just abandoned them.
Well, she was doing it by herself. She could have been wanting a break too.
You don't believe that?
I mean, I'm just saying, throwing a possibility out there.
Okay, all right. Again, this was never looked into either.
Certain things were normal back then too, and
okay, we'll go with that. So again, other rumors went around that he was known for being terrible to women, was a swindler, and never paid his debts or rents. And he always had like an excuse to not pay his debts. So his image was getting really tainted. The type of people he would see in his office, the type of work he was doing.
Yeah.
A child that was working with him that just mysteriously disappeared, never really confirming who that was. Didn't pay his rents, didn't pay debts. He already was starting to have a poor reputation.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. This is where it gets to the point where he leaves pretty soon after this.
Okay.
There was an older soldier, vet, living in town with an illness. Doctors were unable to cure him, feeling he had malaria. Now, the soldier felt he was ill from getting shot in the war and the bullet lodging in his ribs, making the ribs press against his lungs, therefore unable to breathe well.
Right.
If he were able to be granted disability from the war, his wife would be able to retrieve a higher life insurance and his benefits. He was looking to be diagnosed correctly. So he had actually asked Herman's landlord, Mr. Steele, to be there for his autopsy. He wanted to make sure that a reputable doctor can look at his body and say, actually, this is what killed him. This is from the war. His wife should be able to get this benefit.
Okay.
He really wanted to see to it that his wife was taken care of. Steele, highly upset, was unable to make the autopsy. However, he asked Herman to perform the second autopsy. He's like, hey, I got a doctor that rents from me, owes him some rent, owes him a few favors, and maybe he could perform the autopsy and see if there's evidence of being shot in the ribs.
Okay.
So Herman agreed, did the autopsy, and stated that to Dr. Steele that yes, he actually has evidence of the claims, but he would only give him the evidence if Dr. Steele would forgive his rent. So, yes, I'll do you this favor. And, oh, yeah, I've got the evidence. Absolutely. Pay my rent first, then I'll give you the evidence. Yeah. Steele told him to go F himself. Pretty much. Said absolutely not. And the evidence itself were the ribs.
Okay.
And it was true. The ribs were broken.
Okay.
So he had reputable evidence that he refused to turn over because Dr. Steele, his landlord, would not forgive his debts of rent. So Dr. Steele said, nope, I'm not going to give you that. You still owe me my rent money, and I'll find another way to make sure that this widow gets what she needs. And he actually did.
Okay.
He did end up helping her. She did end up getting paid out a pension. And as far as we know, Herman had those ribs.
Okay.
But that was kind of enough for him. He left after that. He was just like, you know what? I'm going to New Hampshire, where he sent a letter back to his creditors in New York saying he had business to attend to, and he will come back and pay his debts, which he never did. In New Hampshire, he actually tried to take full custody of Robert.
Yeah.
Shows up out of nowhere, wants to take the kid. Claire says, F off. And she took Robert to her father's house, and Herman said, all right, fine. And he left. And
he fought hard then.
Oh, yeah.
He fought hard. Okay.
He left and went to Pennsylvania to start over his life as what we know him now, Dr. H.H. Holmes.
Okay,
now he changed his name.
So to get away from being married, he just changed his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now he's H.H. Holmes, and the creditors can't come after him because Herman Mudgett disappeared.
At that point, it was so easy to change your name at that point and disappear.
It was.
So, yeah. Makes sense.
Yep. So at this point is where we come forward and say, here we are in Chicago.
Okay.
He moved there August of 1886, gaining employment at the Holton Drug as a pharmacist.
Okay.
The drugstore was located in Inglewood, which is on 63rd and Wallace Avenue, where we were.
Yep.
It's now an Aldi's, by the way. No longer a
Yes.
pharmacy. And it was owned by a Mr. Holton who...
So I don't know if an Aldi's from a pharmacy is a upgrade or not.
Fair. Very fair. Very fair.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Fair. But Mr. Holton was elderly and unable to work, and the store was ran by his wife, Elizabeth Holton.
Okay.
Holmes made the proposition that if he bought the store after Mr. Holton died, that he can make the store prosperous and bring it up to where it needed to be. And Elizabeth agreed, and Holmes allowed her to continue to live on the second floor of the store even after Mr. Holton had passed away.
Okay.
Now the store was in his name and in his possession. He was the pharmacist.
Okay.
And he made some slight changes, and one of the changes is he called it a pharmacy instead of a drugstore. Meaning he could sell more stuff there than just medication.
Okay.
Okay. So he was adding to the inventory a bit.
Gotcha.
After some time, people came in and started asking to see Miss Holton, see how she was doing, and his answer was always she had gone to California. There wasn't much of a question about this at first because she had always talked about going to California. So he said after getting the life insurance from her husband, she finally took this trip that she always wanted to take.
Okay.
But she was reportedly never seen again. And as more people asked questions, Holmes pretty much stated, hey, she went to California and decided not to come back.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
I mean, that's a pretty good cover for that time.
yeah,
People disappeared.
it was easy to disappear back then.
Yeah. So if you move,
The only way of
technology was.
And if you didn't write to people, nobody knew where you were, what was going on in your life.
The technology, just record keeping.
Yeah.
It's tough to track someone down then.
Now, that is one story, though.
Okay.
There are other stories and theories, especially by those in books by Eric Larson, who wrote Devil in the White City that I read, and also the book H.H. Holmes by Adam Salazar. So Holmes stories also seem to be very far-fetched, and here's the reason. Records were not well kept. And it was well known that after Holmes had left Chicago and all of this happened in his arrest and whatever, the papers, media kind of blew up his stories and kind of said, oh, this is what happened and this is what happened. When in fact, there was like no record of that actually happening, and the stories became myth. So we don't know for sure, because other stories is that it's stated that the whole story could be a fabrication. As it came out years after this, Miss Holton came forward stating she never died. She's been there the whole time. Okay. There's also evidence that Dr. E.S. Holton, referring that Elizabeth was the doctor and not her husband.
No.
And then there's other theories that neither of them were old. They were young, and Elizabeth was the doctor. She got pregnant. They decided to sell the store to Holmes.
Okay.
And they just moved and were living in the area and raising their family. So there's multiple theories. There's one theory out there that he was trying to help this person out by kind of scamming himself into a pharmacy and then killed them both off. There's other ones saying that Holton died naturally and his wife did go to California. And then there's other ones like, hey, they sold the property and they just
gone.
They're just living in the area and they never died.
Okay, so which one seems more plausible?
I don't know. I'm going to go with an I don't know. Because I do believe the work that Eric Larson did and Adam Salazar did. And there are deeds out there that have Dr. E.S. Holton, which is Elizabeth Sarah Holton.
Okay.
Whether or not they were young and had a family and moved on and just sold the place, I don't know.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if the mythical story that's out there that everybody feels like is accurate is true, because that is the type of shit he would do.
Okay.
And we'll find that out as we continue going. We're going to wrap this one up here.
I was going to say we're getting close to an hour, so.
Yeah, I was watching the time. But we're wrapping this one up here because I wanted to just throw out there that he's now in I was going to say California. In Chicago. He's now H.H. Holmes. He's still married with a son out there. Still married. I just want to put that out there. He's still married. And has a son. Is a doctor.
Okay.
By the skin of his teeth, doctor. And now has a pharmacy. But unnecessarily sure how he got that pharmacy. Many theories. In one way or another, he is now the owner of that pharmacy.
He took it over in some way, shape, or form.
Correct. And that pharmacy is now Novi's.
They don't sell drugs there now.
No, well, maybe over-the-counter drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. You got to pay $0.25 to get a cart.
Yes, you do. And you have to see security if you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that one you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one you do.
That was the first Aldi's I've ever been to that had security at the door and that you had to go see them and they had to escort you to the bathroom. It just shows you what kind of neighborhood Englewood is now become.
Yes,
yeah.
It has become
maybe not the safest place.
And there's a post office, part of a post office on top of his original basement of the place he ends up building across the street.
Yes. But we'll get into that.
Where we were. So
yeah. But we'll get into all of that in the next episode.
All right.
Okay.
Well, join us for the next part two. Part two.
Duo. I don't know what I'm saying. The gin is getting to me, I think.
The world I live in.
All right. See you for part 2.
Movavi. Movavi. Movavi.